Have you ever felt the weight of someone else's gaze on you? Not a physical gaze, but that judgmental look, the opinion that hangs in the air, silent, yet so loud it drowns out your own inner voice. It's a strange sensation, as if we're wearing clothes that don't fit, an invisible armor forged from the expectations, criticisms, and praises of others. I myself have found myself in that situation countless times, adjusting my words, my actions, even my dreams, to fit the mold I imagined others had for me. It's an exhausting effort, an endless dance on a stage where applause seems to be the only reward, but which, deep down, leaves us feeling empty and disconnected from our own essence. Today I want to invite you on a journey. A journey into yourself, to unravel why the opinions of others hold so much power over us and, more importantly, how we can free ourselves from this invisible prison. Imagine for a moment what it would mean to live with authentic freedom. To wake up in the morning and make decisions based not on what others will think, but on what resonates with your deepest values. What would it be like if your self-esteem were a fortress, built by you brick by brick, immune to the winds of criticism and the rain of disapproval? Stoicism, this ancient yet incredibly relevant philosophy, offers us powerful tools for this construction. It teaches us that the only thing we truly control is our mind, our reactions, our character. The opinions of others? Those belong to them. It is a territory over which we have no dominion, and trying to control it is the surest recipe for frustration. Together, let's explore the roots of this need for validation, understand how it manifests in our daily lives, from social media to our most intimate relationships. And most importantly, let's discover practical strategies, concrete steps to dismantle this dependency and build a sense of self-worth that doesn't rely on badges, likes, or compliments. This is not a promise of a magical solution, but an invitation to continuous work, a daily practice of choosing yourself, listening to yourself, and honoring yourself. Are you ready to reclaim the power to define who you are? The architecture of dependency. Why do we care so much? To begin deconstructing this need for approval, we first need to understand where it comes from. We are not born with this concern. A baby cries when it's hungry, laughs when it's happy, expresses its needs without any filter about what others will think. This concern is learned. It is a complex architecture built throughout our lives. The first layer of this construction is biological, evolutionary. Our ancestors lived in tribes, and group acceptance was not a matter of popularity but of survival. Being cast out of the tribe meant almost certain death. Therefore, our brains were programmed to be extremely sensitive to social cues, to seek approval and avoid rejection at all costs. That ancient software is still running on our modern hardware, causing us to feel a real pang of panic when we sense we are not pleasing others. The second layer is social and familial. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek external validation. Grades in school, praise from parents for good behavior, a scolding for a mistake. We learn that love and acceptance are often conditional. If you're a good boy, you make me happy. If you get good grades, you'll get a gift. Unconsciously, the message we internalize is, my worth depends on my performance and the approval of others. This dynamic trains us to look outward for a thermometer of our own value. The voices of our parents, teachers, and first friends become the prototype for our future inner critic. The third layer is cultural. We live in a society that glorifies fame, popularity, and numbers. Social media is the most glaring example of this. They are, in essence, engines of external validation. Every like, every comment, every follower is a microdose of approval that feeds our ancient desire to belong. The problem is that this validation is ephemeral, volatile. It creates a vicious cycle. The more we receive, the more we need to feel the same effect. We become addicted to a digital applause that doesn't nourish the soul, but only temporarily soothes the anxiety of not being seen or accepted. Recognizing these three layers, the biological, the social, and the cultural, is not about blaming the system or our parents. It's about understanding the mechanism. It's like a magician revealing the trick. Once you understand how the illusion is created, it loses its power over you. You begin to realize that this need for approval is not a character flaw, but a deep conditioning. And everything that is learned can be unlearned. The distorted mirror, how others' opinions become your reality. Imagine you are born with a perfectly smooth, clear mirror. This mirror is your self-perception. It reflects who you are in a pure form. Now, imagine that with every opinion someone expresses about you, a small drop of colored paint is thrown onto that mirror. Someone says, "You're so shy." A blue drop appears. Another says, "You're not creative enough." A gray drop. A compliment, "You're very smart." A golden drop. Over the years, Your mirror becomes so covered in these drops of paint that you can no longer see your own reflection. What you see is a collage of others' opinions, a distorted image that you come to believe is your true face. This is the process of internalization. The opinion of others ceases to be something external and becomes a core belief about ourselves. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said something profoundly wise about this. What upsets people is not things themselves but their judgments about things. Someone's opinion is just that, a judgment, a perception, a set of words floating in the air. It only gains power when we grab it, bring it inside, and install it in our mind as an absolute truth. I remember a time in college when a professor said my writing was a bit too flowery, not objective enough. That sentence, a simple technical opinion, lodged itself in me. For years, I struggled to write in a dry, almost robotic way, pruning any trace of personal style, because that professor's voice had become my own critical voice. I only freed myself when I realized that it was just one perspective. Other people might find my writing engaging and poetic. The liberation was not in convincing the world I was right, but in giving myself permission to have my own style, regardless of whether it pleased everyone. I had to wipe that drop of paint off my mirror. The danger of this distorted mirror is that it creates self-fulfilling prophecies. If you believe the opinion that you are clumsy, you start to act with more hesitation, which increases your chances of stumbling, reinforcing the original belief. If you believe you are not interesting, you become quieter in conversations, people interact with you less, and you conclude, "See? Nobody finds me interesting." We become prisoners of an image we did not create, but which we begin to defend and embody. The first step to cleaning the mirror is to start questioning every drop of paint. Where did this belief about me come from? Whose opinion was it? Is that person the ultimate authority on who I am? Does this belief serve me? Does it strengthen me or limit me? By asking these questions, you begin to separate what is yours from what belongs to others. You begin to see the slivers of your original reflection behind the layers of paint. The inner compass versus the external GPS, reclaiming your north with stoicism. Navigating life based on the opinions of others is like using a GPS that is constantly being updated by strangers. Every person you meet can change your destination. "Turn left," says one. "No, the best way is to the right," shouts another. You live in a state of constant anxiety, changing routes at every moment, never arriving at a place that is truly your own. You get lost. Stoicism offers us an alternative, to cultivate an inner compass. A compass does not depend on external signals, on satellites, or on the opinions of passers-by. It points to a constant north, a north that is defined by your own values, your principles, your virtue. This is your true guide. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if you will ever dig." He didn't say to look to the side, to your followers on Instagram, or to the approval of your boss. He said to look within. The most fundamental tool of Stoicism for developing this compass is the dichotomy of control. Epictetus summarized it brilliantly: some things are within our control and others are not. Within our control are our judgments, our impulses, our attitudes, our actions, our inner world. Outside our control are our body, our reputation, the opinions of others, external events, the outer world. Wisdom, for the Stoics, consists of focusing all our energy on what we can control and accepting with serenity what we cannot. The opinions of others are unequivocally in the category of things we do not control. You can be the kindest, most intelligent, and most generous person in the world, and still, someone will find a reason not to like you. Trying to manage every person's perception of you is an impossible and maddening task. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. So what do? We shift our focus. Instead of asking, "What will they think of me if I do this?" the Stoic question is doing this in line with my values? Is it a virtuous action? Is it the attitude of a courageous, just, and wise person? The validation becomes internal. Success is not measured by applause, but by your own awareness of having acted correctly, according to your compass. This does not mean becoming a cold and indifferent person. You can still listen to others, consider feedback, be empathetic. The difference is that the opinion of others becomes a piece of data to be processed, not a verdict to be obeyed. You analyze it with your reason, compare it with your values, and decide if it has merit. The final decision-making power is always yours. You are the captain of your ship. Others may shout from the shore, they may wave flags, but it is you who holds the helm, with your eyes fixed on your inner compass. Cultivating this compass requires daily practice. It requires moments of silence and self-reflection. It requires the courage to sometimes navigate against the tide of popular opinion. But the reward is the tranquility of knowing that you are on your own path, true to yourself. The echo in the cave of the mind, disarming the inner critic. The inner critic, that relentless voice that whispers doubts and insecurities to us, rarely has an original voice. Most of the time it is an echo. An echo of the criticisms we have received, the expectations we have not met, the negative opinions we have internalized throughout our lives. It is the voice of that teacher, that relative, that ex-partner, who has set up camp in the cave of our mind and now pretends to be our own voice. Disarming this critic is an essential step to freeing yourself from the opinions of others, because it is the internal agent that reinforces external validation. When someone criticizes us, the inner critic says, "I knew it." They realized you're a fraud. When someone praises us, it whispers, "Don't get used to it, it was just luck." Soon they'll find out the truth. It keeps us trapped in the cycle of seeking approval because it convinces us that we have no intrinsic worth. The first step to disarming it is observation without judgment. Treat yourself like a scientist observing a phenomenon. When that voice arises, instead of merging with it, take a step back and just notice it. Tell yourself, hello, inner critic. There you are again. Give it a name if you like. The censor, the judge, the general. This creates separation. You are not the voice, you are the one who hears it. This simple dissociation already diminishes its power enormously. The second step is to question its authority. The inner critic loves generalizations and absolutes. It says, "You always mess things up," or "You'll never succeed." Challenge these statements with evidence. Ask, is it really true that I always mess things up? Can I remember times when I was successful? Look for counterexamples. You will find dozens. The critic operates in the darkness of generalization. The light of specificity makes it retreat. The third and most powerful step is to cultivate an alternative voice, the voice of self-compassion. This is the voice you would use with a good friend who was suffering. If a friend made a mistake, you wouldn't say, "You're a useless failure." You would say, "It's okay, everyone makes mistakes. It was a brave attempt. What can we learn from this?" Start directing that same kindness toward yourself. When the inner critic attacks, let the voice of compassion respond. Critic, you made a fool of yourself in that meeting. Compassion, you were nervous and you tried your best. Public speaking is hard. I'm proud of you for having the courage to try. Next time we can prepare a little more. It's okay. This may seem strange at first, but it's like strengthening a muscle. The more you practice self-compassion, the stronger that voice becomes, and the weaker the critic's voice. You are essentially repopulating the cave of your mind. You are driving out the echo of judgment and inviting in the sound of acceptance and encouragement. Over time, your mental landscape transforms. The echo dissipates, and what remains is the serene silence or the gentle melody of your own authentic voice, telling you that you are enough, exactly as you are. The Authenticity Laboratory, a practical guide to liberation. Understanding the theory is fundamental, but true transformation happens in practice. Let's now enter our Authenticity Laboratory, where we will experiment with some concrete techniques to disconnect from the need for approval and strengthen our sense of identity. Experiment 1. The Internal versus External Perception Journal. For 1 week, get a notebook. Divide each page into 2 columns. In the left column, write what I did/thought/felt. In the right column, what I worried others would think. At the end of the day, set aside 10 minutes to fill this out. Example. Left, I wore a colorful shirt that I love, but it's a bit loud. Right, I worried my coworkers would think I was trying to show off or that it was tacky. Left, I stayed quiet during most of the meeting because I had nothing relevant to add. Right, I felt anxious thinking my boss would think I was uninterested or stupid. At the end of the week, review your notes. You will see a clear pattern of how much mental energy you spend anticipating and managing others' perceptions. The simple awareness of this pattern is the first step to changing it. Ask yourself, of these worries, how many came true? And even if they had, what would the real impact on my life have been? Experiment 2, the micro-no practice. Often, our difficulty in saying no is rooted in the fear of disappointing others. Start training this muscle with micro-nos, low-stakes situations. The waiter offers more bread? No, thank you, I'm satisfied. A colleague asks if you can take a quick look at something when you're focused? I'd love to help, but I can't right now. Can we look at it after lunch? A friend suggests a movie you have no interest in seeing? I'm not really in the mood for that one. How about we watch another option, or do something else? Every no, you express calmly and respectfully, without over-justifying yourself. reinforces the idea that your needs and preferences are valid. You are setting a boundary, and every boundary is an affirmation of your own worth. Experiment 3. The information diet and opinion fast. Choose one day a week, or even a few hours a day, to go on an information diet. Turn off social media. Avoid news portals. Don't ask for anyone's opinion on small decisions, what to eat, what to wear. Just consult yourself. What do I want? What do I feel? What do I think? This fast from external stimuli and opinions creates a space of silence where your own voice can emerge. You begin to reconnect with your instincts and preferences, which are often drowned out by the noise of the world. You rediscover that you are perfectly capable of navigating your life without the constant validation or direction of others. Experiment 4. Celebrating invisible victories. Our society trains us to celebrate only the big public achievements. The promotion, the graduation, the purchase of a home. Start actively celebrating your internal, invisible victories. Manage to resist the urge to check your phone every 5 minutes? That's a victory of discipline. Celebrate it. Manage to treat yourself with compassion after a mistake? That's a victory of emotional intelligence. Celebrate it. Manage to express your own opinion even when you were afraid. That's a victory of courage. Celebrate it. The celebration doesn't have to be a party. It can be a moment of internal recognition, a smile to yourself in the mirror, writing it down in a victory journal. By doing this, you are changing the source of your dopamine. Instead of seeking it in likes and compliments, you are generating it internally, from the recognition of your own character and effort. You become your own primary source of validation. These experiments are not about becoming selfish or isolated. They are about rebalancing the scales. About ensuring that the most important and loudest voice in your life is your own. Navigating the digital stage, authenticity in a world of likes. Social media is perhaps the greatest modern battlefield for our self-esteem. It is designed to exploit our need for validation. The infinite scroll, the notifications, the like counts, everything is optimized to keep us engaged in the pursuit of approval. Freeing oneself from the opinions of others in the 21st century necessarily requires a conscious reevaluation of our relationship with these platforms. The first step is to change the metric of success. Instead of measuring a post's value by the number of likes, measure it by its authenticity. Before you post, ask yourself, am I sharing this because it reflects something true about me, my interests, my passions? Or am I posting this because I think it will perform well, that it will generate engagement? There is a crucial difference between expression and performance. Expression comes from the inside out. It's about sharing your truth. Performance comes from the outside in. It's about molding yourself to please an audience. Choose expression. Post the photo you love, even if it's not the most Instagrammable. Write the caption that comes from the heart, even if it's not the wittiest. Share the article that fascinated you, even if it's not the topic of the moment. Over time, you will attract people who connect with your true self, not with the persona you created. The quality of the connection will become more important than the quantity of followers. The second step is the conscious curation of your consumption. The opinions of others affect us not only when they are directed at us, but also when we observe the seemingly perfect lives of others. Comparison is the thief of joy, and social media is a feast for this thief. Be ruthless with the unfollow or mute button. If an account makes you feel inadequate, envious, or anxious, mute it. It's not about the other person. It's about protecting your mental space. Fill your feed with accounts that inspire you, that teach you something, that make you laugh, that show the beauty in imperfection. Transform your feed from a source of comparison into a source of inspiration and learning. The third step is to create validation-free zones in your life. Find hobbies and activities that you do purely for pleasure, with no intention of sharing them online. Paint, cook, dance, walk in nature, learn an instrument. Do it for you. Feel the joy of the process, not the anticipation of approval. This teaches you that your worth and your ability to feel joy are not tied to external validation. Your life is much richer and vaster than what is displayed on a screen. Remember what Seneca taught us. True wealth is poverty adjusted to the law of nature. In modern terms, true digital wealth is having an inner life so rich that online validation becomes a pleasant bonus, not a desperate necessity. It's having the peace of mind to be able to post something, close the app, and go on with your day regardless of the number of notifications awaiting you. Your worth was already defined by you, long before you clicked publish. The end of the journey is the beginning of the path. We have reached the end of this reflection, but in reality, this is just the beginning of your journey. Detaching from the opinions of others is not a destination you reach, but a path you walk every day. There will be moments when the old need for approval will knock on your door. There will be days when a criticism will hit you harder. And that's okay. The goal is not perfection but conscious practice. What we have explored here is a map. A map that shows where the traps of validation are hidden and what the route to your inner compass is. We have seen that this need is a deep conditioning, but that it can be unlearned. We have seen that opinions are like paint on a mirror, and that we have the power to clean it. We have learned from the Stoics to focus on what we control, our character, and to accept what we do not control, the perception of others. We have identified the inner critic as an echo and learned to respond with the voice of self-compassion. And we have laid out a practical plan to turn our theory into a lived reality. The freedom you seek is not in making everyone like you. That is impossible. True freedom is in not needing them to like you in order for you to like yourself. It is in building a self-esteem so solid, so grounded in your own values and your own approval, that external opinions become what they really are. Just noise. A noise that you can choose to listen to or ignore, but that will never again have the power to dictate your inner music. So, the challenge I leave you with is this. What will be your first step? Which experiment from our laboratory will you put into practice this week? Which drop of paint will you begin to wipe from your mirror? Your life is your work of art. Take the brush. The opinions of others are just suggestions of color, but the hand that decides, the hand that paints, the hand that defines the work, that hand is yours alone. If this journey of self-knowledge and wisdom resonated with you, if you felt that inner click that it's time to take back control, then go ahead and hit that like button so this message can reach more people. And subscribe to the channel because with every video, we will strengthen this inner compass together, dig deeper for our fountain of good, and learn to navigate life with more serenity, courage, and authenticity.